Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, the SAVED Act, which requires individuals to provide proof of citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. I am very grateful to say that I voted for this bill today and that it is passed out of the House of Representatives with bipartisan support, though not nearly as much bipartisan support as it should have. In states like Massachusetts, Ohio, Virginia, non-citizens have recently been removed from the voting rolls, and many of those non-citizens, it appears, have actually voted. The Arizona Secretary of State website is currently falsely promoting the idea that individuals who fail to present proof of citizenship when registering will be eligible to vote in federal elections. We also have several municipalities, including in California, that have explicitly authorized non-citizens to vote in municipal elections. So H.R. 8281, the SAVE Act, seeks to address these problems in a couple ways. It will, number one, require an individual to provide proof of citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections, and number two, provide states with access to existing federal databases so they can clean up their voter rolls and remove non-citizens from the rolls. This should be a pretty common sense idea, that only American citizens should vote in American elections. And it's astonishing to me that you had a couple hundred people in the House of Representatives today that voted against this, although fortunately it did pass, again, with bipartisan support. And one of the objections to the bill was very interesting. The objection was, well, wait a minute, it's already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. We don't need this law. Well, it's also already illegal for folks to cross into our border illegally. It's kind of a tautology. It's illegal to immigrate illegally. So does that mean it's not happening at all? No, of course. It's happening in an overwhelming way, unlike we've ever seen in our country's history, with millions and millions and millions of people coming into this country illegally. So what we have learned from this administration's approach to illegal immigration is that simply having something be unauthorized under our laws is sometimes insufficient to address the problem. And so while it's true it's already illegal to come into this country without being granted a pathway to be here legally, nevertheless, we need to pass bills like H.R. 2 that provide enforcement and that provide safeguards and that assure that the law is being followed. And in a similar vein, even though it is already illegal for non-citizens to cast a ballot, we need to have this legislation to put in place equivalent safeguards to make sure that it doesn't occur. So that's why I am encouraging the Senate to act promptly, now that it's in its court, to pass the SAVE Act, to close the loopholes that are allowing this to happen, to enhance our election security, to minimize the risk of outside interference, and to restore and protect Americans' confidence in our elections. Mr. Speaker, every year, millions of high schoolers across the country who are interested in pursuing higher education fill out the federal application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. The FAFSA is designed to make post-secondary education accessible and affordable for students across the United States, and let students know what federal student aid, Pell Grants, or work-study programs are available to them. Traditionally, the FAFSA is released by October 1st every year, giving students, families, and schools plenty of time to decide what post-secondary education is right for them. Unfortunately, the Department of Education under President Biden has been unable to meet this standard. As early as November of 2022, the Education Department refused to commit to the traditional October 1st release of the FAFSA application for the 2024-2025 school year. 6 months later, in March, the department finally admitted that it would be delayed until, quote, sometime in December, only to reveal in November that the launch date would be on December 31st. It's the very end of December. When the forms were finally released, processing of completed FAFSAs was delayed for months. Once processing finally began, millions contained calculation errors, rendering them useless for schools and requiring reprocessing. This caused great confusion for schools and families, and schools were forced to push back deadlines, causing uncertainty and stress for fall enrollment, as if the process of applying for college isn't stressful enough. Current law recommends FAFSA be released by October 1st, but allows the Education Department to delay the FAFSA release until January 1st. Last year, the department abused this statutory gap and continually failed to give a clear date for when the FAFSA will be released. So that's why I am co-sponsoring a piece of legislation that passed the Education and the Workforce Committee yesterday, the FAFSA Deadline Act. The FAFSA Deadline Act gives students, families, and schools much-needed clarity and stability by ensuring the FAFSA is released on October 1st. Choosing the right college is stressful, and students and families should not have to deal with added uncertainty from the Department of Education. This legislation will prevent any future delayed rollouts by the Education Department. I'm proud to have supported in committee to be a co-sponsor. I'm hoping it'll soon pass the House, the Senate, and be signed into law by the President. Mr. Speaker, I am very proud to represent truly one of the most beautiful places in the entire world, in Lake Tahoe. And I'm very proud to be a sponsor of the Lake Tahoe Restoration Reauthorization Act. We got some good news just this week. The Senate has acted on this legislation to extend the Lake Tahoe Restoration Act for another 10 years. Lake Tahoe is a national treasure, and we must honor our commitment to preserving it for generations to come, which is what this legislation seeks to assist with. For over 50 years, presidents, governors, senators, and representatives from both parties have worked in a bipartisan fashion to protect the natural beauty and wonder of Lake Tahoe. I was honored to join many of them last year at the Lake Tahoe Summit, and will be doing so again this August. Nearly 80% of the land in the Lake Tahoe Basin is controlled by the U.S. Forest Service. The bipartisan Lake Tahoe Restoration Act provides the federal share for the environmental restoration projects in the basin, in partnership with California, Nevada, local governments, nonprofit, and for-profit partners. Since its enactment, a total of $104.7 million has been appropriated for the current Lake Tahoe Restoration Act as of fiscal year 2023, which is about 27% of the total authorization. While Congress has steadily increased the pace of appropriations under the bill since its enactment, the Act has a significant level of spending authority remaining under what was originally a 7-year bill. Since its previous authorization, funds have gone to more than 700 projects in the Tahoe Basin. And Lake Tahoe's waters are the clearest they've been in decades. We are keeping Lake Tahoe blue. But that won't happen without continued work on the part of all of these stakeholders and the assistance provided by this legislation. For Lake Tahoe welcomes millions of visitors from around the world every year and is home to 55,000 residents. I remain committed to continuing the long history of bipartisan leadership that has preserved and protected this special place. It's up to all of us working together to assure that future generations will continue to be able to experience the beauty that those of us who live or vacation or travel to Tahoe have the great fortune to experience. I urge the House to act quickly on this bipartisan legislation, and I urge the President to sign it into law. Mr. Speaker, it is with a heavy heart that I wish to take a moment to honor the memory of Jackie Weston, an Auburn resident and community leader who sadly, tragically passed away recently at the age of 40. Jackie was an anchor to the local business community, serving as the chief executive officer of the Auburn Chamber of Commerce. Her journey began when she moved to Auburn, California in 1985, where she became an integral part of the community, graduating from Placer High School and embedding herself into the fabric of the community. She dedicated herself to the betterment of Auburn, channeling her enthusiasm and dedication into countless community initiatives. Jackie embodied the essence of leadership, tirelessly volunteering her time, organizing parades, nurturing the local business community, and extending a helping hand to all. Her impact on Auburn has been profound, and it will be enduring, leaving an indelible mark that will resonate for a long, long time to come. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives and California's 3rd Congressional District, I wish to extend my deepest condolences to Jackie's partner, Ian, her children, Solomon and Evelyn, and the countless others whose lives were touched by her remarkable spirit and generosity. Mr. Speaker, I wish to mark and celebrate the 25-year anniversary of Scott's Seafood Roundhouse in Folsom, California. In 1976, Scott's Seafood Grill and Bar opened in San Francisco, but it was in 1999 when John and Suzanne Cook brought Scott's to the Folsom community. For the past 25 years, the bar and grill has served as a premier community establishment, engaging and enriching Folsom and the broader region with its quality food and service. While it has always been located in Folsom, it moved 4 years ago to the city's historic district. Now located in the heart of Folsom, Scott's Seafood is becoming a local household name that was able to navigate through the immense challenges of COVID-19, as well as the devastating passing of the owner, John Cook, in 2022. However, the resilience and continued passion for their business is very much evident with John's wife, Suzanne. Scott's Seafood is known not only for their fresh seafood and delicious meals, but also for their commitment to actively participating in and serving the community. It is a true honor to represent exemplary businesses like Scott's Seafood here in Congress. Therefore, on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, it is my privilege to recognize Scott's Seafood Roundhouse for reaching this significant milestone of 25 years in business. Congratulations, and thank you for all you do for our community. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Thank you.